When I was working in a multi-tenant application, one of my friend was moving components between different folders. He didn't know where to put that component. After seeing that, I described him how the components should group. After that, he immediately put that in the correct folder. As you can see, we spend a lot of time thinking little things. If we can save that time and save that from lot of paper, that means we can improve the velocity. Instead of putting every folder structure I know in one video, I decided to create a series. In this one, I'm gonna explain you a simple folder structure. I use this structure in a warehouse management application and in a feedback management application. Alright, let's get it started. We use Utils folder to group functionalities that we need for any feature. For example, group by. Let's say we have an array with users. Each user has an organization. If you want to group users according to the organization, you can use this group by. You can use this group by for other functionality, maybe blogs, content, courses, or anything like that. It is not depend on any feature, but it is useful as a tool. So those are grouped in Utils folder. In Libs folder, what we usually do is we import external libraries and create wrappers around it and export it. For example, here I have HTTP, but it is an Axios instance. The benefit of this is in the service file, I will get into this one later. When you send an HTTP request, you can type HTTP instead of Axios. In the future, if you want to move from Axios to another library, you don't have to change these functions. I mean, this is just one file. Like in your project, there will be many. You only have to change this file. In this way, you can change stuff very simply, and this improve the velocity. In the services folder, we create this service file, and in that one, we add functions. These functions are the portal between external systems and our content. As you can see, I have HTTP. HTTP is an Axios instance that is connecting with our backend. If you want to connect with your payment provider or cloud provider, you can create a new service here and connect with that one. For that, you cannot use HTTP because it's connect with our backend. So you have to connect with their own method. So you can see why this service folder is really there. Hooks folder is for storing reusable React logic. Here you can see I have this use users hook. In this one I have a loading state. Here I have the function and I am returning both of those. In the components folder, we can store reusable React UI logic. In that one, we have a subfolder called common. There we store generic UI component. For example, input, button, table, pagination, like that. Using those generic components, we can create a specific component like sign in form, user table, site navigation links, like that. In the sign in form, you can get use sign in user hook and implement the logic. Using this specific component, we can create pages. After we create the page, we need to route it. To do page design and routing part, we use this pages folder. After adding the routing logic and the pages here, we exported that and imported those stuff in the app component. So after we have multiple pages, we want to share the same state between those pages. For example, let's say you have a clothing store and when user click add to cart in multiple pages after they realize that this is what we want to buy, we need to get that state from every page and update the add to cart page. To do that, we need a global store. So that's why we need this store folder. We can store global state related logic. In the constants folder, we store constants. For example, routes. Since if front end change, route won't change, we need to make sure it is a constant. We can reuse this in our service. For example, here I'm gonna add routes.user here routes.user. In the types folder, we store all the types. It is that simple. One thing to point out is when I create user.types.cas, that means in that file I'm gonna add a lot of TypeScript types. This is sign it, this is sign up, So in this way, if I want to do a change or check a type related to user, I'm going to type user.types. That's it. In this way, we can manage and easily access types. Since you watched till then, let me give you a bonus tip. Here you can see I have this index.ts file everywhere. Why is that? So when you add this index.ts file, it's easy to migrate from one folder structure to another. For example, in here, I have this input component. Okay, it is in this common folder. I'm going to create a new folder called atoms. In that one, I'm going to add the index.ts file. And in here, I'm going to export that atoms. Okay, now I'm going to move this component to atoms folder. So in the atoms folder index, I'm going to export input. Now you can see I change this folder structure and move a component to another folder. Still, I don't have to change this sign info. Why? We have this command. That's why this index.ts file is very important. It doesn't matter which folder structure you use. It will help you to migrate from one structure to another. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe.